So anyway, to the topic of the podcast today that we have on Is It Cool or Is It Nostalgia? We are going to be talking about old school arcade games. And I would like to first introduce the host of the podcast, Turtle. Turtle, hello. Hi.
He refuses to face anyone
he
but
refuses to face anybody. So yes, you guys get to stare at the backside. Here you go. But anyway, hi, my name is Michael, and to my right is
Mike the Deuce.
the Deuce, and we have
Jeffrey
and
Andy.
all right. So here we are today to discuss if something is cool or nostalgic. We're all old men, and we have seen
for
old
yourself.
arcade games.
Sir.
I'm just saying.
Excuse me.
I'm pretty sure it's
Throwing
going to be
these
obvious to
accusations.
the
Turtle
crowd.
and I are
out
very
there.
offended. Okay?
Yeah, it's like this is going to be
We're
pretty
very
obvious to
offended.
everybody out there. We have actually seen an arcade. We are old enough to have seen arcade games. Or older games in general, like that had pixelized graphics that aren't the newer stuff. And anyway, we all have at least some experience or a little bit of love in this area. So we're just going to talk about them. And for me, I'm going to do a little shilling, pretty much, to start with. I actually made one of these games. Actually, it is made to counter an old genre of video of the game I'm going to talk about. An old genre, I made it to be different because that whole genre was stuck in the mud, I thought, and made a newer style game but using older hardware called Vengeance Hunters. And I'll put it up on the screen here. So this is me shilling.
Wait a second.
What?
We should have been like, this episode sponsored by... And
This
This episode is sponsored
by Vengeance
Vengeance Hunter.
We should
Yeah.
have just eaten his pizza.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like
sponsorship money.
yeah, we probably should have done that.
No,
But
it's all good.
Hey, we already did it. This episode is sponsored by Vengeance Hunters.
and
By not
You know I'm not
by
going to
the
edit
Lure
any of this. It's going to be
Studio.
all us screwing up.
But anyway, yes, the old school Neo Geo hardware, the ones that you
Wait.
saw in every.
That's all we're going to show about Vengeance Hunters? Hold on. Let's hear the music. That's
Yeah.
like the best
well,
part.
you know,
that is
if you
literally
let
what I
him
was just
finish
about
his
to talk
intro, if
about.
he
No,
wants-
no talking,
I-
just music.
hey.
I can't ever finish a sentence. It's fine.
Well, see, it's supposed to be Mike
It's
who always
supposed to be me.
interrupting.
I'm trying
No,
to.
but if
trying
you
to
let
get
him
it-
finish his intro at the
Yeah.
end, I could always, if
No.
you
I'm
send me the
already
trailer, I
distracted.
could cut it in the center of it.
I'm already distracted.
I was trying to give the background of what I did and then lead into my actual topic.
No one
That's
wants
what
to
I was
hear
Let the
trying
man
to
tell
do.
his story.
And
Let the host host, damn it.
I was gonna keep it to just like a minute or two, but I can't talk without somebody talking over me. Ugh.
You got it, man. Go ahead.
Anyway, I don't even know where I was at.
This is Vengeance Hunters.
Yeah, it's
Go.
Vengeance Hunters. It was made for the Neo Geo hardware, the old like hardware that you saw at like theaters, like your 7-Eleven, stuff like that. Has like Metal Slug, has your Fatal Fury, basically a bunch of fighting games, Samurai Showdown, stuff like that. My team and I love the hardware and we love the genre, so we made a new game for that old hardware. We put it out on modern platforms and whatnot. And I made the combat specifically in this game to counter older games that I think might be a little bit nostalgic in the genre. And that will actually lead me into the game that I'm going to talk about is Final Fight.
Wait a second. Wait.
Yep.
What was the... So you built for it to run on Neo Geo
Yes.
hardware.
Yes.
What was the coding for that?
C. And some
C?
assembly.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything's
Which was
written with...
the hardest part. What was your hardest part doing it?
The hardest part doing it... Well, okay, so to be specific, I only did mostly the game design and stuff like that. I did not code. We actually have a guy that's in Budapest. Who, the team's worldwide. We got the main pixel artist who worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. He's in Ireland. The guy who's funding everything is actually in Andorra. One of the other main artists, he's in Spain. I'm in the United States, so we're just all over the place. But it's. But I was very heavily involved in that side of it. And the hardest part actually with any of this was actually with audio. Audio was by far the worst. If we had an audio problem, it usually had to solve it like with assembly. and we tried to avoid any audio stuff. And there's actually a little bit of audio clipping in this game because of that. But anyway, to kind of keep things moving forward here, I made this game pretty much entirely because I thought the genre got stale even back in the 90s when I was a kid. I thought it was not great because you just kind of got bored. There's a term that's called beat 'em up fatigue. And I wanted to make sure when I designed this that you did not have beat 'em up fatigue, that you had tons of different options to play, and then each character was different. Like, play different. They have a bunch of core mechanics that are the same, so you can pick up and play any of them, but they play drastically different. And anyway, like, this isn't, even though I was joking about shilling for my own game, that's my reason why I'm bringing up today's subject for myself in Final Fight. This is in the beat 'em up genre. It's from the early 90s, and this is absolutely a game that a lot of people love. They love this game. They love the art style. Like, this is pretty iconic early Capcom. Capcom made this game, and it's actually was wonderful. When I first went to get a Super Nintendo, one of the things that made me want to get a Super Nintendo, besides the fact that it was a Super Nintendo and I had a Nintendo, was the fact that I played Final Fight and I read the magazines they were going to bring Final Fight to it. And because I love this game in the arcade. But then after owning Final Fight and having it, I was just like, man, this got boring real fast. And it was just because it was the same thing. Each character just has only a very small variation. The pixels all look different. The characters are kind of iconic. They all still exist in fighting game form today, for the most part. But this game in itself, I feel, is not the best playing anymore. And then the whole genre itself pretty much kind of patterned itself after this. There's Streets of Rage, which is amazing. Tons of people love it. But a lot of people who love it today love it for its repetition because they know it. And they love that. But for me, that isn't like what I like. I like having options when I'm doing stuff like that. And this game is kind of the epitome of the whole genre back in the day where it just did not move very fast. And everybody copied it and it died out. And it died out rightfully until recently, like Streets of Rage 4 and a bunch of other beat 'em ups have come out. In fact, actually, we've had so much competition. There's a G.I. Joe beat 'em up game that came out recently. A Power Rangers one literally came out a couple days ago. There was a Karate Kid one that came out, and there's there's a Toxic Crusaders one that's coming out.
The
like
TMNT.
and the TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, that's actually the one. Like, Streets of Rage 4 kind of started it off. They found out they could make money. The TMNT guys, they kind of blew everything up, and now everybody's doing it. So, and a lot of them fall into the same trappings. So, anyway, that's I guess my topic. I guess so.
I had asked you before.
Oh yeah.
Is this? I asked you. I don't know the timeline of these things. So I was like, is this a clone of Street Fighter?
Yes, Andy asked earlier if it was a clone of Street Fighter, and fun fact, this was actually supposed to be called Street Fighter 89. This was a sequel to the original Street Fighter that nobody else has played and shouldn't, because the original Street Fighter is terrible. And this was being made, and they were calling it Street Fighter 89, and then they decided to do an actual sequel to Street Fighter, and they just rebranded this as Final Fights.
Which became one of the most iconic.
Which became one of the most, one that led everybody into the genre, like fighting in general, like in one-on-one fighting games in general. Yeah. So yeah, originally this was called Street Fighter 89. So that's why I was like, going to bring that up, because that's actually kind of a fun little tidbit.
Can I just comment on Hagar's, or is that Hagar? Hagar. His posture in this game. He's just hunched over the whole turtle. Time.
Well, he's also somebody that very much skipped leg day.
Yeah, he's got the skinny. Everybody in this game skipped leg day. Cody here, even Guy. His name's Guy. Yeah.
Not Guy.
What's hilarious?
I don't know. Maybe it was Guy. It's like I always said Ryu growing up for like Ninja Gaiden and stuff. I said Ninja Gaiden and I said Ryu.
Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah, and it's actually Ninja Gaiden, and it's Hugh, I think, is actually the proper pronunciation.
Yeah. Everyone like overemphasizes the R, but
I always said Hugh. I always said Ryu.
He has only one suspender.
I said Ryu when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
Well, the other one popped off because of his massive chest.
Oh, the other strap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'll let.
Well, he had to hold his pants up because he has, such a massive chest, huge
You want
waist,
to pull up a video?
and then like nothing below it.
of
gameplay?
of
I
Final
think there's
Fight
a
here.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Hold on, YouTube.
I think we need to see. We need to see the gameplay to like really feel.
I
Yeah,
guess
'cause I've
so. I
personally
guess
never actually
since,
played
yeah,
this
this is a
game.
little harder since it's a video game. We're not doing this. Whoever okay. So if you're a person in the audience who stretches their 4:3 aspect ratio video games out to 16:9, you're a terrorist. There's no in between. You are a terrorist. Why is there not anything?
60 FPS.
Yeah. This is actually not even the original. This is a hack, apparently. Because this was not 3-player. It was only 2-player. You could select 3 characters, but this is still the original gameplay, it looks like.
Did it run that fast, though?
No.
That looks like turbo
I'm
speed.
pretty sure it did. Here, let's find one that's all... Oh, this is a Super Nintendo one. This is actually one I had the most
remember this game
experience.
because, like, I remember
Yeah,
getting to go and beat up a car for some reason.
What's that?
I said because I remember you getting to go like beat up a car for some reason.
Yeah, and that they kept that in Street Fighter 2. Like in between the rounds, there's a bonus round where you got to beat up a
destroy
car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Okay,
is
maybe it's the Street Fighter 2 version I'm remembering.
yeah, and this also has it. You can beat up cars and whatnot. I think there's even bonus rounds or stuff like that where you can do that.
Do the enemies have more moves, or they have very standard moves?
They basically have like one characteristic. They'll have 1 or 2 different moves. Like there'll be one that'll like try to stay away from you and try to sneak in behind you. And
The guy in the
I'm
leopard
already
print
bored
was
of
just
this.
trying to
Just
hug
walk
you,
over-
man. That's how he kept coming.
yeah, he'll grab you and whatnot. But each one of these
Oh my
characters do like different things, and but you can abuse like one of the things you can do. It's called footsies in these games. And it's the same term in fighting games too, where when you walk around and you manipulate the AI to give you more advantage because they're always trying to do something, and that's how you'll get hit. It's to add a lot of people that made these games also knew that you're going to be putting quarters in, so they made them very, very cheap. So you go through the first level or so, and you feel like a badass. And then after that,
the difficulty
ramps up.
Yeah.
And it's not just difficulty, it's the cheapness. Like there's a difference between difficulty and cheap. And this is, you can't learn cheap very well. You have to abuse the AI. And that's where footsies come into play.
So, is this an American game or a Japanese?
It's Japanese.
Japanese,
It's made by Capcom during kind of their original heyday in the 90s when they were just putting out banger after banger. This was one of them. This is very popular.
They were like, where do the bad guys in America are? Oh, Subway.
Yeah.
We're here in the train.
Yeah, well, they're
hilarious. There's a guy like just chilling.
The,
while everyone's fighting
and they're like, oh,
and
let's
killing
not
each
start
other.
fighting.
This guy
Well, these
here,
guys aren't even doing it. He's just walking up starting to punch
this-
people who are just standing there.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, bro! This guy here, he's actually Hagar the mayor. He's a mayor of Metro City, which is patterned after New York City. And his daughter, who is the guy in the white shirt, Cody, that's his girlfriend. His daughter got kidnapped by these guys, these thugs. And then Guy is just the friend that comes along probably just because he likes to kick ass.
Like, hey, you guys beating up a bunch of people in the subway? Like, yeah. I was like, all right.
He's like,
he's
all right,
walking
I'm
to the
in.
screen, and the guy's just standing there, not doing nothing. And the other guy was just like sitting on a bench, and he walks up and just starts punching him. I'm like, well, you're the instigator here. You're the one being rude.
Yeah.
He's got to clean the city out.
It's a video game, okay? Just
Look at those guys sitting and waiting in that picture.
That's exactly what it was. They were just sitting there chilling. He walks up and starts punching
Well,
him.
no, this
They
is
were
actually cool.
styling.
Like
Look
from
at
a
that.
game design aspect, this is awesome because you don't want your enemies just walking in on the left and right side of the
Right.
screen. You want them to be dynamic. You want the world to feel lived in.
No,
And they wake and they get up and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna kick your ass because you said you're on the subway and you're in New York and this is
That's
so this
fine
that's
that they're
awesome."
sitting and that they get up. The problem is he walks up and just starts punching them while they're still just sitting doing nothing.
He knows. He can read the room.
Dude, nobody
read the room. These guys, they look like bad guys.
These guys with these clubs and
punks wearing
chains
hair like
and
that.
spiked hair and are probably throwing insults.
Sitting there
Yeah.
The bad
profiling the subway
They're not
guys.
going to sit there and be like, "Hey, dude, you look like a Calvin Klein model. Nice shirt." They're not going to say that. They're going to just start whipping his ass. So he's whipping their ass first.
It's if you're on the subway, you deserve to be beaten. That's it. He's just like, that's it.
Jeez, I'd never get on a subway with Andy.
With Andy, yeah. Andy goes
Oh,
in the
gosh.
subway looking for fights, man.
So yeah, that's my
Final
topic for the day.
Did
So-
you ever play Final Fight in an arcade?
Yes, I had it. There was a what we'll just refer to as a 7-Eleven. It was a convenience store when I was a kid. They had a Final Fight. They actually rotated machines pretty often. The Neo Geo actually that I made a game for was in there pretty often. In fact, there's a game that I absolutely hate, but I also love it called Magician Lord. That was in this same 7-Eleven convenience store, and they'd rotate out cabinets, and they had Final Fight in there for a long time. And I went through, I beat it, I don't know how many times. It was a ton of times.
So
Got
what would
pretty
you
good at it.
say for the average beat 'em up of the day? Was it fair, or was this on the more annoying side?
I would say it was once you learn the footsies and stuff like that, it was pretty fair, but I would say it was definitely a little bit annoying. But it's kind of hard to say. This is definitely not one of the worst beat 'em ups for that. Like, it also depends too. One thing that people don't know is most of these arcade cabinets had these things called dip switches, and you could set the difficulty. So you never know. Like a game that I might consider fairly easy, like the Super Nintendo version of this, I thought was pretty easy. But there was an arcade. The arcade version I thought was much harder. And I'm pretty sure whatever version I had in that local convenience store was set to easier because I never thought of it as that hard. And I've not really played the modern arcade version on like hardest difficulty to actually know that. But I would say it's not super cheap in a lot of ways that other games became cheap. So yeah, it's a little rough, and that's all definitely gonna be based on your perspective. Like,
So you have nostalgia towards this? Do you like
I am-
actually like some of it?
I am very nostalgic, and I love it. I love the pixel art. I love the graphics. I like the concept. I like the idea of just walking through and just kicking ass in a subway, like a simple story, like the mayor of Metro City, shirtless wrestler, dude. I love all of
With
that.
a back problem?
Well, yeah, with the back problem. He's got like.
So you're saying you're very much on the side of cool for this?
I actually am on the opposite side of cool. I actually think this is nostalgic from a gameplay perspective. I think this is a cool looking game. It's very much like looking at a car and thinking it's cool, but knowing it's just trash. I don't think this is trash. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think this was very much a lot of other games patterned themselves after this, and the whole genre died because of it. It never evolved, and so this game just it played well enough for its time, but it's not so good.
So more
And,
is cool in its day, but
it was
today
cool in
more
its day,
nostalgia.
but I'll definitely say it's nostalgic.
Gotcha.
Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
Do you want to pull up Road Rash?
Yes.
Pull up the video. Pull up the video. Because you got to see the...
Okay.
I was worried. I was worried that I would get in trouble because the videos were not entirely PG after the race finishes.
Don't just look up Road Rash in general.
Yeah. So
Which version of Road Rash? Because
just
it
hit
actually had
game,
been-
and I know just hit game. The first one would
Okay.
probably be the second video right there.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah. So the whole like very grunge and street crazy, like it's all caricatured faces and exaggeration, and they would have AMV like live video recorded videos
Oh,
after a race is over, like before a race, after a race, like a woman will come give you a kiss on your helmet that you won. If you lose, people are making fun of you. But so this is me in I got this later, so probably later 90s. That I didn't have it in my house. It was initially found in my cousin's house, and it was first started playing one of the early video games I ever played.
this
And
was
you
one
put-
of the earlier video games you've ever
You
played?
played this on PC.
The memorable, yeah,
Oh,
on PC. Probably a Pentium 1, 133 megahertz could boost to 166 megahertz.
Nerd.
My
No, I would have loved
watch-
that. I would have loved that as a kid.
My watch is faster than that. My graphics,
Yep.
my smartwatch is faster than that.
See, it's funny that you played the PC version because I know of 0 people that have played the PC version. This
Right here.
You have? Okay,
That's
so
why I
guess
played
know-
this.
I guess I now know 2 people that played the PC version because most people who have played this on the Genesis.
Yeah.
Road Rash 1, 2, and 3 on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And then it was also on the 3DO and PlayStation. So people have played those, but typically not the PC version. So that's actually pretty interesting.
I didn't even know there were console versions of this. I never played the originals. It was sometime in the mid '90s. I think it was like It was like 94 or something like that, whichever version of Road Rash came out then. Like my dad had it on his computer, and so that's where I played this.
I have never played this. What is this game about? I mean, I'm seeing the
That
cover.
right there.
That's right there.
What would you say? What would
Okay.
you say about the? Do you like the racing, or do you like the combat, or do you like both?
I think there is a good amount of skill involved in the game, and you can win without fighting people. The police will come fight you though. They will hit you with the baton,
yeah.
with a stick, and you can in the future have like a nunchuck or something else, or you can just kick. Right, that's the default is you can just kick. So there's definitely skill in this game, and it gets harder. You make money.
one of
There
the
it is.
cops.
The cop saw you. Yeah,
What's real fun is when you
I loved
wreck,
all parts of it.
but you don't wreck into you wreck into the back of a car and you go flying for like 20 miles. And you're going so
Oh,
fast.
he's dead.
Yeah, I loved all parts of it. Really,
Here's one thing I'll say.
this is even older. Look at this.
Yeah,
This is-
see, I did. This
this
is
is-
older than the version.
This is Road Rash 3 on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
This is what I know. I grew up actually with Road Rash 1 and 2. My buddy had a Genesis and he had those games. So I'm very familiar
Yeah, I
with
think
this
it's Road
series.
Rash. Is it Road Rash 4 that was the mid-90s that we were just looking at?
The one we were just looking at was just like, I think it was just kind of a reboot that was on the PC.
Okay, well maybe that's what it wasn't. But that's
I think it
that's
was
what
like
I had.
94, 95 when it
Yeah.
came out on PC.
Well, what stood out to me, especially about the previous one, was that they
Oh, this one has
used-
mirrors, so you can see who's coming up behind you.
Yep.
They used real people
yeah,
and turned them into sprites,
Sprites,
kind of like
yeah.
Mortal Kombat style.
yeah.
I wish there was more of that in nowadays as well, because it was such a unique, like visual
style,
Well, they still do that to a point, but it's just like more like motion capture.
Yeah,
It's not-
yeah,
It's
I know,
mo-
motion
it's
cap. It's not the
mocap
same.
and
It's not the
then-
same. You know.
Yeah.
It's like put a real person there and make him do crazy, stupid stuff in a video game. You know what I mean?
No, I get you on that.
Well, now you know what you need to do for your next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually,
Mike
it's
is
funny.
volunteering.
I would actually like to go completely gaudy with something, like put stuff like that in there. Go like back to the 3D rendered Donkey Kong Country graphics.
Oh
something
my
like that.
god, I love
There are,
that
people,
game.
there are people that hate that style of graphics, like hate it.
What about,
And
like,
I would love
Clay
to
Fighter?
lean into it. Yeah,
Is it like
See,
pixel
I actually
shading?
like Clay Fighter.
Almost.
I
Yeah.
played
Is it pixel
so
shading?
For what,
much
this?
of Donkey
No, the
Kong
previous
Country.
Road Rash, what we saw.
I've actually thought about, like,
Pixel
going and getting it
Let's
and
go
playing
back
it
to that
again.
one.
Even the cars, everything, all the artifacts are pictures.
Right. Yeah. It
Just
it
put
looks
on
like
things.
it.
Yeah.
Like all the
Yeah,
textures.
they're
came
just sprite.
from-
Everything's sprites.
Yeah.
The
So-
both sprites. I think the PS1 version of this actually has a lot of this rendered, like it's 3D rendered with sprites.
This was also the first game I knew the cheat code for. The first cheat code I've ever entered for any
How's
video
a
game
cheat
was
code
For
work
the
on
PC
a-
version.
Yeah,
for the PC
how
version was XYZZY spoon shift 1.
Spoon?
And you would get like a whole bar of nitro boost that is only available usually later on with bikes that are higher CC, higher capacity. So I can't even remember. I think it was through school. Here's a weird thing. My school's computer lab, it's so weird to think about it. They will let you play this video game if you paid, it was 5 rupees for half an hour or something. It was like a quarter for half an hour. So it was very weird. I don't even know why the school is doing
Yeah. Yeah.
that. I was like, is this a scheme where the computer lab kind of teachers were running underneath, or does everyone know what are they doing with this money?
Yeah. Are they
That was-
pocketing the money
that,
and like?
that was their booze money.
But
for,
that's
like, after
where
they got
we
done
learned that,
handling all the
yeah,
kids.
exchange cheat codes. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
you have to type this, and now in my head I know shift 1 is like holding shift and then hitting 1 because it was exclamation point actually. As a kid, I would go shift and then 1, and that wouldn't work. It took me a while to figure out, oh, you need to hit shift and 1 at the same time for it to work.
Right.
So for me, I will say it is still cool for me. I'll say that. I think there's a difficulty curve that's pretty good. It feels like the weird live video parts inside of it feel fun.
Oh, the cheesy videos.
cheesy
They added the
videos,
later
yeah.
ones, like when they actually had like CD storage media, and they could add that. Really good. Music was really good.
Yeah. My vote is it's actually both nostalgia and cool.
Well, it can't be, it can't
Well,
be
we'll
both.
we'll go with cool.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
It's cool, guys.
Just trust me.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next pick. I'll go next. We're going back to beat 'em ups. In fact, I think
Let's go.
they're pretty much all beat 'em ups except for Andy's.
Yeah.
We're gonna go take a look at Golden Axe.
Okay.
Golden Axe, another classic. This one developed by Sega, released in 1989. And this is probably the beat 'em up that I played the most when I was a kid. And
Did you play it in the arcade or did you play it on Genesis?
Never in the arcade. In fact, my very first experience with Golden Axe was the Commodore 64 version, which doesn't actually look that much like that.
You had a Commodore 64?
My brothers had a Commodore 64.
Oh, did your parents hate your brother?
You know what? I won't comment on that.
Just kidding. I own a Commodore 64. I just would not have used it as a gaming platform as a kid.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. My brothers had all sorts of games on their Commodore 64, and Golden Axe was definitely one of them. And it definitely cannot do the kind of graphics that you're looking at the top right there.
This was the iconic case for the Sega Genesis, like right here.
They just threw Xena Warrior Princess in the background.
What was his name? Like Axe Battler or something like that? Like the most just badass name of all time. I think his name is Axe Battler.
Axe Battler is his name.
Yeah.
Yes. And the dwarf over on the right there riding the dragon dinosaur thing, his name is Gilius Thunderhead.
Yeah, yeah.
He had the power of lightning. And then the female warrior over there, her name was Tyrus Flare. What kind of power do you think she had?
Flames.
Yeah. One thing that was really unique about this game is that not only was it like your typical beat 'em up where you go around and you hit people, right? And in pretty much all cases you have a weapon. You know, we have the axe with the dwarf. I think the guy, he had a sword, which is funny. He has an axe in the case there, and then the female warrior, she also had a sword, I think.
Yep.
Oh, all three are playable.
Yeah, all three are playable. But then also they had this magic system, and there was a bit of strategy to it because you had to basically build up your magic by picking up little magic potions throughout the level, and the more magic you collected, the stronger your spell was going to be once you actually used it. So you had to think about when you were going to use your magic and how much help you needed from it.
Did you like beating up those little guys to get more magic?
Yeah, the little I don't even know what
I don't know
called.
what
They're like
they
little
are.
Squirrel goblin
Yeah,
things.
they're just
They look
running
like
around like
squirrels.
I always
they
thought
laugh at you.
I always thought they just seemed like they're little jerks, and you just had to beat them up and
they're-
just take their magic.
Yeah, they're mischievous little elven squirrel things.
You'd think if they had that just stuff
Look at
sitting
the
around.
player select screen. Look at that. Look
That's
how
pretty
freaking
cool.
amazing that is. But the game, to be honest though, it's very typical beat 'em up. There are ways to cheese the combat, especially with like I think you brought this up when we were talking earlier with the dwarf. If you jump and attack while jumping, you almost hit every time and can't get hit.
This is
at
the
same
classic
time.
jump attack.
Yeah.
It can be OP in these games
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're doing.
Where in the timeline is this?
In the timeline,
Wait, like what year?
Back
this is a
when-
fantasy
Well,
setting.
obviously, this is
No,
back
no.
when we had
When the
dragons.
game came out. When did the
and
game come out?
Rideable lizards.
Wait a second.
Like that was like what the 1200s maybe,
Okay.
1300s.
I meant more. When did the game come out?
What's the timeline?
Oh, she picking up and throwing them. That's pretty cool.
1989. This game came out in 1989.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And it was apparently pretty
Oh, there's
advanced.
the guys.
Yeah, there's the little squirrel things. It was pretty advanced for the time because it had 16-bit graphics, which was like a new thing, and it played pretty smoothly as well. And a lot of people basically praised the environments. There was a lot of varied environments when it came to the levels.
Pretty good.
And you got a little bit of verticality, as you can tell from
Yeah.
there. So there's multiple paths and whatnot that you can take. It's a fun game. There's aspects of it that are very.
Oh, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, that's Death Adder.
Death Adder.
Because he
Yeah.
adds you to the death.
Yes.
there's aspects of it that are kind of cheesy, repetitive. That's basically any beat 'em up except for Michael's over here. But
And
overall,
of
I think
course,
it was
in these
really
games,
fun.
women aren't allowed to have clothing.
Yeah, yeah. Women weren't allowed to have
Armor, dude.
Yeah. Even the bad guys. Oh yeah, they also had rideable
Yeah.
animals.
Whoa,
that
the bad guy
not
got
only
on
can
it.
the bad guys
you
use,
can
but
fight
you could
over
as
'em.
well. And they were
Yeah.
insanely.
That was one of the coolest parts of this
Yeah,
game.
they were insanely powerful. If you found one, especially the dragons that breathe fire, like you wanted it and you wanted to keep it, and it sucked whenever you got hit, and then the animal's like, nope, I'm leaving you. I don't want you anymore. Like Yoshida way. And yeah, they just completely destroy. But I think the whole magic aspect that they add in really was the thing that puts this for me in the aspect of still being cool, because it added at least a minimal amount of strategy to your play, and it wasn't purely focused on just going up to someone and hitting them. So for that aspect, I think I would judge this as cool.
Oh, was that her magic cast?
Yeah,
Where she
that was
got-
her magic.
she had the best magic.
Okay.
She went up to level 6. You of course had to collect a lot of it to get there.
I switched it up. This is the arcade version. You played the Genesis version, but
Well, no.
they're pretty close.
I played the Commodore 64
Or Commodore
version.
64.
Pull up that
Oh,
one.
boy.
It looks
Oh, yeah,
completely different.
Okay, so let's
But
see.
I have also played the arcade version via completely legal
wow.
Whoa!
emulator. So it looks completely different on the Commodore
That
64.
looks terrible.
We will see. We will see. They still went for the character select screen, sort of.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Is that
all right.
8-bit colors?
I guess. Yeah, this is an 8-bit computer.
Yeah.
So it's there's.
Oh, he's doing the jump attack. See, that's the classic cheese.
Did the Commodore version have more than one attack button?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. I was very young.
Because a lot of games on the Commodore or for those PCs only had one attack button, and usually up was attack, but to beat them up, you have to go up when you go up. So I'm curious if it had more than one. I think the Commodore 64 would have had 2 buttons because there's a ton of buttons on it, but a lot of the other
Well, I
PC
mean, you have
games
the
didn't.
whole keyboard too.
Yeah, but it was just funny. Like they consistently didn't have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is an interesting version.
Yeah, very very different, but there's still
So did they dumb it down to be able to make it work on this, or did it come out on this and then it was made better to be on the other one?
No, I believe that this was a port.
This was this is
So
definitely
this
a port.
was, trying to make it run on a very popular computer system to get more money.
Yeah. They probably had to
So
rewrite
they dumbed
everything.
it down.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
It was really common back in the day to get a popular game from the arcade and then port it to all the different platforms. And we didn't see over here the Commodore 64 version, the ZX Spectrum, or Specky as the Brits call it, and a few other of the real kind of we'd consider them pretty low end computers. But a lot of kids used them to play games on, and so there were ports
can't
of
get
these
them.
for everything. Yeah, the hit registration in a lot of these
Turtle
games is a
Village.
little not great.
Where's your cat?
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to explain the story on this one because it's all sorts of weird. It all revolves around Death Adder just being a bad guy, but there's all sorts of weird environments that you go to. Like there's, I think there's a giant turtle that you fight on the back of, and that was even in multiple different versions of the game or sequels in the game too.
I mean, the Commodore one just looked sad.
It was, but it was also pretty cool that it even ran at all on
Okay.
the Commodore 64.
What is the medium on 64? How do you get game in?
Big old floppies.
Floppies?
Yeah.
The 5-inch?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was.
You,
yeah, I
you
think,
could do,
whatever
you
it
could
is.
do
think it was-
cassette you could do cassette tapes too.
yeah.
It was very slow and sounded horrible. It took 5-10 minutes to load.
But yeah, this is Golden Axe 3. So it's had sequels. In fact, I think they were supposed to be making a new one.
They
around
are.
now.
Sega recently announced a whole slew of their old IP that they've had dormant forever is now being
Yeah,
like they're
they're-
making new versions. Like they're making a new Golden Axe, they're making a new Shinobi, they're making a new Crazy Taxi. I think they're making a new Jet Set Radio, like a few of those. So yeah, Golden Axe is definitely one of them. No clue what it's going to look like. Don't know if it's going to be a 2D pixel art, if it's going to be a 3D game. They had a failed 3D one. I think it was called like Beast something or other. That was on like the PS3 360, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I hope they keep with the the pixel art 2D beat 'em up style. We know that there's a market for that when it comes to, like you were talking about, all the games that are coming out now.
Yeah.
That are
Oh yeah.
incredibly popular. So
This part of it looks better than the
Well, this is
final
the
Well,
fight.
it's also part
this
3.
is the
though.
third one.
I know they've gotten much better.
Yeah.
Her moves are much more fluid, and she's collecting red. Oh no, still blue.
But are you talking about all of Golden Axe or specifically the
No,
game?
I'm just this
specifically the
time.
one game, I should
This
say.
time, I'm just talking about the first one.
And-
Now, I'm not saying this Commodore 64 version.
Okay.
That was
okay.
just
I was
my
gonna.
first.
I was gonna like.
That was just
So
my
you want
first
to go
exposure
with the
to
Sega
it.
version we were looking at,
We can go with the arcade version.
or arcade version?
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
the non-sad version.
The non-sad version. Honestly, it's pretty good.
I love the FBI thing right there.
Winners don't use
Oh, yeah.
drugs.
Yeah, that was at the start of almost every game back in the day.
Yeah.
All arcade games had that winners don't use drugs, FBI, whatever, and it was just common. I've never actually even looked up as to why or if it was a requirement, but they pretty much all did it.
Because our youths were being corrupted.
I think
Yeah.
it was something like that where it was like going, well, they want us to put it there. We want to keep making money from kids, so here we go. We're going to tell them not to do drugs.
Yeah.
When her big spell worked out and the dragon came out, I thought that was a boss, not her spell.
Yeah,
That was
I think,
pretty cool.
Oh,
I
the
think
big
she's,
green dra-
I think she's
yeah.
about to use it right now. Yeah,
There
yeah.
it is.
See, this is the levels of magic. It gets more powerful the more of those bottles you get.
I thought that was
So-
just her, like, a boss showed up.
Oh, but she had to fight it.
Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the big dragon versus her little one.
Yeah, see, it changes
This is-
based on the level of spell.
I would say this is pretty cool.
Hey, wait.
You're voting too
Wait for the
early.
vote, wait
Stop
for the
breaking
vote.
the
Pretty
rules.
cool in this part. Yeah.
we still got one more to go
Yeah.
here.
I'm sorry.
Mine.
I
It's
had
alright.
a very emotional reaction to this.
Andy's
I'm
digging
sorry.
it. Andy's digging it.
All right, Jeffrey.
Mine is an early '90s. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time. Another beat 'em up.
Another classic.
Which, as I was like pulling this up and like remembering how it went, I realized I came across it. Apparently, they had a Turtles in Time reshelled where they redid all the graphics. It came out in 2009. Same game, but it looks better. I was like, where was I? So I'm gonna be
Looks
checking that
looks
out very
better.
soon.
We might have to have fight over
about whether
that.
it actually looks better.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
Uh-huh.
It looks better as in like the visuals look like they weren't as you could tell who the turtles were a little easier.
They're
Higher resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, hold
Okay.
on. I'll bring it up. Turtle, keep going though.
So another very simple story. Shredder and Krang, they steal the Statue of Liberty, and then Shredder taunts
As you do.
the Ninja Turtles for 'cause,
Wait,
like,
they
haha,
stole
we took
the
it.
Statue of Liberty?
Stole the Statue of Liberty,
Okay.
Why not?
and then
Haven't you ever thought about that?
No.
essentially like somehow interrupts the news broadcast just on the Ninja Turtles TV to taunt them that haha we stole this, and the Ninja Turtles have to go get it back. And as they're trying to get it back, Shredder somehow gets them caught in a time warp. So they're
As
fighting
you
through
do.
different time periods, like dinosaurs are out there, and then they're fighting like an old Western train and all this stuff to try to get back to Shredder and beat him and return the Statue of Liberty to where it goes. Obviously, it's another beat 'em up. I'll admit, like as you play it, there are some repetitive moves and everything like that. But something that I thought was not only is it cool just because I like Ninja Turtles as it is, but not every Ninja Turtles game is created the same. On this game, where like earlier where you're seeing where you're grabbing people and throwing them over your shoulder, you could grab them and throw them at the camera. So they fly at the screen and disappear.
Yeah.
And so you ended up like
Yeah.
the whole game as you're beating people up, trying to grab them and throw them at the screen. And you have obviously all 4 turtles to pick from. And not only is that fun when you're throwing them at the screen, everything like that, the sound effects on this and the music I thought were great.
Konami when they were at their best. Phenomenal soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's a very
The music's
fluid
great.
though. It looks very
Right,
fluid.
that's what I was about to comment on. The gameplay is very fluid in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I played this on Super Nintendo, I think. Pretty sure. Might have been Nintendo, but I thought it was Super Nintendo. See, there you go. Throw 'em on the camera.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is specifically the arcade version. Did you play the arcade version? or
I've
did you
played the
play
arcade
Super
version
Nintendo
and the
version?
Super Nintendo version. I played both.
There's also kind of a Sega Genesis version that's named Hyperstone Heist, but they couldn't use the Turtles in Time name because they had an exclusivity clause, but it's pretty much the same game. They remixed some stuff, but
Yeah. But then, like, you go through every level fighting, foot soldiers and stuff like that. And then at the end, there's always obviously a boss. And I went through and, like, somebody did, like, a power run throughout the entire thing in, like, 45 minutes. And I was skimming through it to remember, like, how far did I get through this? And something I find funny about Baxter Stockman there is his little gun. If he shoots, it has, like, a little hand that comes out just to, like, grab at you.
yeah, this guy's playing too good, but yeah, you get grabbed by it.
But no, the further I went through it, I was like, I think I got pretty far in the game. I don't think I ever actually beat it because I don't remember the very end. Shredder turns into Super Shredder, and you have to fight him. I was like, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember that part. So I'm not sure I ever actually beat it.
And
But I got pretty far into it.
Who doesn't love picking up a big old pizza to refill your health too?
Yeah.
Right? That's the way to do
It's a
it.
pizza box.
Now you got to pull up the reshelled version because I've not. You're gonna. Yeah,
I did. Absolutely
Okay.
cursed.
No, that's not good.
Look at
That
this.
can't be it.
This is reshelled.
That's it.
This
No,
is,
that's a 2009 one.
See, I just
Oh,
saw
that is it.
that,
Look
and
at
I was,
that.
I was like, that didn't look that bad.
No.
that's the same game. That's the
But
same.
that looks freaky.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's the way they are. Here,
Yeah, but
hold on.
seeing right there, like
Hold
that,
on,
the
we'll
actual
just-
gameplay footage looked fine, but when it showed the
It's
four
made
turtles
worse.
looking at us, that looked weird.
Let's see, because you said it's like, oh, it looks better, and I was like, what?
I didn't look at that.
You probably play your 4-3 games in 16:9. You're a
Oh.
terrorist.
I didn't actually look at the gameplay. I just like as I was looking through this, I saw a random image of the gameplay, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool.
Nah.
just the loading screen. Nah.
See, I'd play that.
I don't know, man. This is not my
It's
jam.
not the worst.
No,
It's
that's
not
what
the
I'm saying,
worst.
like, to me, like-
it's not, but I'm just like, oh, geez, like all the detail, all the cool little stuff. It's very gray. Like all the color is lost. Like now we go back.
We'll get to another.
There's
Now we go
there's
back to
pointless
let's-
realism
Here's
in
the
it. But
same
also-
fight, but the arcade version. And I'm just a big fan of pixel art, so I'm probably a little biased there too. So I go between this and oops, I can't do that. This guy and this, and I'm just like going, I'll take the pixel art.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like I definitely like this one because I grew up on this one. I still love this, and I've actually been meaning to go back and replay it. I just hadn't got a chance to. But seeing a reshelled version and saw like the graphics were just like slightly bumped up a bit. I'll agree that the scene you picked there was a lot of grays, but you go in like there's other ones with color and everything.
That's just a lot
But-
of green.
Subway Surf.
I'm still saying like I would play that.
It just looks like it's like there's not
It's
not as
the
much going on. Like,
Nickelodeonized version.
it
of
looks like there's almost nothing there. Like your
So
eye is not
barren.
drawn. It's so barren.
It
Yeah,
looks
it's like
cheap 3D.
yeah.
it's,
And it probably
yeah.
was. This was probably now to be
Can
fair.
Can you
Cash
ride
grab.
the
This was
dinosaur dragon
probably.
things? No,
I don't
it
think
Oh, he
so.
runs
No,
away.
They run away
I
as
think
soon as
he,
they're gone.
yeah.
doesn't.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure this was like the equivalent of like an arcade game, like a 360 arcade, PS3 arcade, like a small downloadable title. So I'm being a little mean to this, and of course, then you go back and like you bring up the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle like Shredder's Revenge. They go back to pixel
Yeah,
art.
that one I've not played yet.
That
either.
game looks like it is phenomenal looking.
been on
It
my
is
list.
Insane. Yeah.
Is Shredder's Revenge the one that just came out most recently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the most
Okay.
recent.
And if
And
you
I
haven't
think there's
played
a
it, you
newer
should play it.
I think there's a
I've heard
newer
good
one.
Well,
that-
the thing is, I'm really looking forward to so I love like the Batman Arkham games. I like the idea of actually more of an open world. Like I like these games too. Don't get me wrong, but I love the solo open world stuff where you're just kind of going around and trying to figure things out when you're dealing with characters that I love. Because I've played a number of Batman games and they all sucked.
We
And
have
then
to
the-
bring up Batman in every episode.
Why did you have to call it out? I was already in my head doing Batman, but then you got to physically call it out. But no, like I never liked the Batman game until the first Arkham game came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love this game!" And then I played the shit out of all of those. And I don't know much about it, but I've heard apparently there's a Ninja Turtles Ronin game coming out
Yeah.
that's supposed to be
The Last Ronin.
Yeah,
The
the
Last
Last
something
Ronin
like
as a
that.
game.
Yeah.
in that similar kind of a style, and I'm just like, oh my god, please do this really well because I'll play the shit out of that game.
It's
too.
a very dark one. I think it's only one turtle left. Everyone's
Yeah, well, that's
dead.
what the Last Ronin is. All three of the other turtles have died, and the one turtle's like
On
out
revenge
doing
back,
stuff and
yeah.
has all their weapons and everything.
All
Yeah,
right.
you don't know which turtle it is up until
Yeah, 'cause I've seen it with
I think
different
halfway
ones.
through or like 3/4 of the way through is when you find out.
Yeah, I actually went saw that they had all the comics of the Last Ronin. They had actually put it together. Like there's like a prequel one, and then the actual Last Ronin. They put it into like the full omnibus edition with all of them in there. And I saw those in the store, and I was like, sweet! And I just grabbed those so I can go because I've never actually read the comic. But no, I'm very much looking forward to that because I love the Ninja Turtles. It's something that I like. I had Ninja Turtles sheets and curtains
you're
and
all
all
in
that
on the Ninja
stuff.
Turtles.
I was in
What do you think
theaters
of
to
the
see the original
movie?
Ninja Turtles.
Like the live action movie when you're
Well, the 1990s one, like it didn't click with me right because I grew up on the cartoon, and I still liked it, but I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now in my older age. I actually liked Ninja Turtles 2 more when I was younger because they flipped over to being a more kid centric. But as I grew up, I'm like, man, I like number 1 better now because I like a more darker Ninja Turtle series.
You specifically played Turtles in Time because this is actually the second game.
Yes.
There's a first one that was also in
Well,
arcades.
actually, no. This is the fourth.
This is the is this? No, I think that's only for the Super Nintendo. The 4 Turtles in Time in the arcade is different than I think
that probably makes
because
sense.
they had a Nintendo.
They had Ninja
like
Turtles
they
3 like mutant something or other.
yeah,
is
it's
what I never played.
on the NES or whatnot.
But no, this is the only one I ever I played of those, and I loved this game.
One thing I want to say about this one in part, I don't know if all of the Ninja Turtle ones are like this, but there's so much style.
Yeah.
There's so like custom animations going on, and just so much care that I can tell went into every single level.
The number of sprites for each movement,
Right.
right?
Like
Like it's so fluid. That guy flew into the screen.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm like, if it's not clear, I think this is cool. I think this is still cool today, and more than likely, once we're done recording here at sometime over this coming weekend, I'm going to be buying this game because I've been meaning to get it back in my possession.
Real fun fact, the Super Nintendo version, they actually added stages and bosses over the arcade version. It's one of the few games that actually added to the arcade experience. So the Super
more for your
Nintendo
money.
one, even though the arcade one is actually more fluid, like if you go, this is Super Nintendo one, we go back to this one, this has more fluid and there's more frames of animation. It actually is missing content compared to the Super Nintendo version.
Oh, what do you know?
I think the reshelled version actually puts it all into one package, pretty much. And you,
But then
know,
you got
But it looks like Nightmare
but then you
Fuel.
have, but then you have the Nightmare Fuel, and so
shit.
yeah. So there's no perfect version of this game, but yeah, they're all good.
Yeah,
no
I mean,
perfect
it was
version
this,
yet.
It was this and X-Men. Those are the two
There's
games
probably a
that
hack
I
that is
played the
perfect.
heck out of in arcade and on like Super Nintendo stuff. This and X-Men. Those are my two go-tos.
Yeah, the 4-player
man.
X-Men was pretty sweet.
Him getting hit by the fire is also hilarious. He's got like this charred face and its hair is all burnt up.
There's so much character that they put in the animations. Like the little things like that matter in games like this.
Yeah.
I can see him smiling in the middle of hits, like as he's doing them. It's really good. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's yours.
definitely cool.
All right, I guess it's time to vote. Who was first?
I was first.
Oh yeah, of course. Final fight. All right.
Final fight.
All right, so if you guys, as I explained earlier, Final Fight or Street Fighter 89, whatever you prefer, it was a game that was great in its time. It still looks amazing, in my opinion. The pixel art is amazing. It's very iconic. Some of these characters are still around, still very well loved. It was great in its day. However, I do not believe that it holds up as a game as well as others in the genre, like the later stuff, especially Capcom stuff they did later on, like Alien vs. Predator and stuff like that, just because there's a lot of repetitious gameplay. But it was kind of the leader in, like, you know, we see those guys on the right that are all sitting down on a bench and they get up and they just start fighting. There's all kinds of stuff like that that just made it cool. However, with just the way it played and stuff like that, I am leaning towards this is actually just more nostalgia for me. It's a good game for its time, but in modern day, it's good for 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then you get that beat 'em up fatigue and you're done.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. It's nostalgia. I think it's just, if it were to release today, people would just complain about how clunky it is, how repetitive it is. I don't think it really stood the test of time. Like, I'm sure this was amazing back in its day.
It was. I was there.
But
It was great.
but it just it there's no way this would hold up today. Nostalgia for me.
100% same for me. I love that there were people sitting in the background and who just casually walked into the fight. Kind of, they were just like hanging out, just in the subway. There's like, oh, it's fight time. Let's get on it. Kind of, there's a guy beating people up.
You mean it's
This guy's
final
got a
fight
look
time?
in his eye. We need to just go
we're
whip
like,
his ass.
If we don't fight him, he will still come kick us. So we have to fight him. But that I think, yeah, like but the moves are kind of so samey. Like they're just not.
Not a lot of variety.
No. Actually, having seen the other things that we've seen just now, for me, it's just like I wouldn't put myself through the playthrough of this. So it's pure nostalgia for me.
All right, Jeffrey.
While my vote doesn't matter, I'm going to agree anyway. I don't recall if I played that or not. There's some things about it that seem familiar, but then some that don't. So if I played it, it wasn't much. And then just watching through that gameplay, doing the same like 3 moves over and over and over, I would get bored really, really quickly. I also don't necessarily like the aspect of, like, it's cool that they're sitting in the background, but to me, I'm like, the guy should be getting up and coming to get me, and I'm supposed to be trying to defend myself, fight him off, not just walk up and punch them because they're sitting there and I know I'm supposed to punch them. That to me, I'm like, that's assault.
Beat 'em up game.
That's now assault. They weren't attacking.
Jail.
That's not self-defense. That's
but they
manslaughter.
What if the guy had a really bad day? Like, wouldn't you just give him a pass on that? Just a little
We're
pop
here
in
to
the
beat
nose.
people
You know,
up.
you don't even have to go to the
But
hospital.
to me, the whole point is like,
Bloody nose.
I'm trying to get
It's
to save my girlfriend or whatever is in that game. And to me, I'm like, if they should be attacking me, and I should be fighting them off to get to the girl, not, hey, I don't like the way you look today. Like, that's just, I don't know. So that's definitely nostalgia for me.
All right. 3
right.
and 4 votes for nostalgia. on
It
that
seems like we've got a verdict here. We got it's nostalgic pretty much. So all right. Well, final fight is in the can. Who wants
Andy.
to go next?
Road
Andy?
Rash.
Andy was next.
Want some Road Rash? All right.
I think it is still cool. I think you can probably finish the game really fast in like 3 hours or something. The games were not that long back then. There's progression. There's like several roads you can pick. Pacific Highway. This is the city way. So you have like different views out there. I think it's still cool. I think it's a good piece of that time, and it's still kind of playable.
All right.
Kim?
Jeffrey?
Well, I'm kind of angry about this video we're watching because I want to see him smash. There we go, finally!
Look at him run so slow. This is
Yeah, they have to run all the way
go
back to the motorcycle. No, what's really funny.
And you can get hit while you're doing that, and you could be running all day long.
What's really funny is, like I was saying earlier, like if you're going fast enough, like when you get to something, because I think he's on a lower powered bike right now. You get to one of the ones where you're like, the cars are whizzing by you so fast, it's hard to even like notice them before you pass them. And you hit it, and you feel like you flew 20 miles down the road, and you have to wait for him to run all the way back to the bike.
Yep.
Oh, he's fighting a cop.
Fighting the cop!
Oh,
that was always good when you can like hit him into a wall.
cop's
Yeah,
back.
and that'll get more cops after you, and you can get cop car, or at least some versions of the game you can.
Oh goodness! But no, I'm gonna say I completely forgot about this damn game until you brought it up, and I researched it beforehand. I'm like, oh yeah! And as we're sitting here, like when I was researching before I came here, and as we're sitting there watching this, it's making me want to go play it. So that alone, I think, automatically throws me in the cool camp. Because if I'm wanting to play it right now, and it's obviously really old, it's cool.
Yep.
Look at that.
Even the cutscenes, they're super cheesy cutscenes. Yeah.
All right, I'll go next. This one actually is tough for me because I think if you released this game today, it probably wouldn't do well unless it was a mobile game. I think this would do so well as a mobile game because the simple controls the easily
You should look up in your phone
discernible
right now, see if
elements
it's
on the screen.
App Store.
I
Maybe it is
think,
mobile.
and I think this would go so well as a mobile game, and I think it would be fun. I think it would be really fun to play.
There's
that
probably
way.
like 5 million of these on the App Store. We just don't know about
Yeah,
them.
and so I think
All with ads.
because of that, I am going to vote cool. Like, there's things about it that seem to me that aren't quite modern enough or like agreeable enough to modern sensibilities. That
FPS is bad.
yeah,
The frame rate is not good. Yeah.
But like I
Every
think
version, the frame rate is bad, pretty much.
I think there are some ways, like a mobile game, where this could hold up really well, and so that's why I'll go with cool on this one. And plus, I mean, I can't get around how awesome the freaking sprites are. All right.
All right, so I am actually going to go with the crowd here. I think this game is super cool. I mean, you are on a freaking super bike or whatever you call it, crotch rockets, just really fast bike. And most of the time it'd be like, okay, we're just going to just go racing here. No, you not only have to race and avoid stuff, which was pretty common at the time already. Like games like Outrun already had you do that, going around corners and avoiding stuff. Well, this one says like, hey, well, what if you're on a motorcycle and you can punch people?
Yeah.
F yeah, let's go. I want to do that. I still want to do that. Not in real life, but I would like to go play this game or any version of this game. Actually, I think every single one of them were good. I played the Sega Genesis one specifically, but I've also played the 3DO version, which is actually kind of similar to this one that we got up right now. This is the PlayStation 1 version. And yeah, every version of this game is pretty much badass. The soundtrack's awesome. It leaned in, actually, I guess I want to say 3's soundtrack was not great. It was really weird. It's acquired. All of them are acquired taste soundtracks on the Genesis. But anyway, yeah, I think this is super cool. The combat, just adding in combat. Nobody else has really replicated the feel of this. There is a game on PC and I think consoles. I can't think of the name that's actually kind of a spiritual successor to this, and even it hasn't kind of emulated exactly what made Road Rage cool.
Oh, I felt like
Yeah. That was a good one.
There are shortcuts actually you can take.
Yeah, you could.
There are alternate routes.
In different ones, yeah, you can take different shortcuts. You can go different routes, like where you want to go, like just ride your bike. Like you can go like this grassy area or whatnot, or a city area and whatnot. You can actually pick your level in some of them. So yeah, I think it's absolutely cool. I don't think this is. I think this is fun today. All right, well, I guess that kind
We're all in
of
agreement
wraps
so
up
far.
our episode, right?
Wait.
No.
No! Wait a minute.
Mike's doesn't matter.
And neither does Jeffrey's. apparently.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
For
All
a
right.
second, I was like, did he forget?
No.
Or is
I
he
was-
hungry
I was-
for the pizza?
No, I was
It's the
actually. I am-
pizza.
I
He
am
was
hungry
just
for
saying
it.
2 unanimous in a row. We're done.
I am hungry for
Michael's
pizza,
just over here
but-
trying to bully me. 'cause
No,
I was being mean to him earlier.
Yeah, he was, I was just asked like, "Hey, what time is it?" I've told you 3 times. I'm like, I went and I looked it up. You mentioned it once.
Yeah.
All
No, it was 3 times.
right,
Anyway,
Battle Axer.
all right, I'll go next. Well, I think I was next.
You are next.
Golden Axe. So
You paused it right on her butt facing us, just saying.
one of
you
the
got a problem
reasons
with
why
that?
it's cool,
That's the reason it's cool? Okay.
Yeah.
butts, and even dragon butts. No, I mean it's another beat 'em up. There's a lot of aspects about this that are very much in the style of other beat 'em ups, but I think the magic system was very unique. The kind of strategy that was involved in using your magic at the right time. I think the settings were really cool, and the rideable animal kind of system going on there, I think was also really cool. There are things about this that I think would still hold up quite well today. There are things that people would complain about, obviously, but I think overall, I think it's still cool.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump in because I've been holding some step back for this. All right.
Oh boy!
All right.
I never played this game,
Uh-huh.
so I'm going in stating that. I've never played it before. I think I had heard Golden Axe before, but I didn't know anything about the game until I researched for this podcast. So I can't speak to the gameplay as to whether, all the magic stuff and the strategy and how cool it is. But what I can speak to is when I was watching a gameplay of it, how quickly these sound effects and soundtrack got on my nerves.
Oh,
The sound effects were so repetitive. I was hearing the same thing like every second or two, and not just from punching, like all the background noise, everything. It was getting on my nerves. and the music I found grating. Like, it was just so bad. So feel free to turn it up if you want to. But because of that, it got on my nerves so quick that I'm like, I would not want to play this game because of that aspect of it, the auditory
Oh
part.
man, I thought I remember the music being really cool in this game. I do agree with
So,
you on the
like-
sound effect. I can see how that could be annoying.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
I
All
get it.
Sega ones were that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, maybe you have to
there's a
play it
limitation
on
of
mute the whole
technology.
game. Maybe if you played it on mute the whole game, maybe it ended up being a little better. But because of that alone, I was like, no, it's
This,
100%
this is the
nostalgia.
track that most people. Of course, in this defense, whoever recorded this is definitely using a later Model 2 Genesis with a different sound chip, and that actually sounds terrible right there. So I would not actually judge it too much based on that. So we should switch that. There is
Well, but that's what
there's
you're
a
playing. I
symphon-
didn't play this. I watched like a gameplay
Yeah.
all the way through, so it might not have been the same. I don't
It
know.
might not have been the same, but yeah, it actually, I would actually agree. That sound, it can be very acquired. I have heard like the symphony version of a lot of these tracks, and they are epic as fuck. Like they are really, really good, but you have a point.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're
because
going.
It's nostalgia because
You're going with nostalgia.
all I can
okay.
go on is what I know of it.
All right.
I'll go here, I
ahead.
guess, real quick, and I'm gonna actually go with. I also believe. Oh man, this one's a hard one for me because unlike Final Fight, this actually has a few things going for it. It has the what is it? The dragons that you can come in. They're not dragons. They're like wyverns or something like that. They're
Yeah,
rideable.
Yoshis.
They're rideable
Rideable.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yoshis.
rideable characters.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can knock an enemy off and then get on it, and then the enemy can knock you off and get on it, that is awesome. The magic system's pretty awesome. The setting is great. I actually like the music in probably the later games, the symphonic version. I know what you're talking about there, so I kind of agree. I'm a little wishy-washy on this, and I'm gonna lean towards nostalgic.
Oh,
It
you
doesn't
break my heart,
have
man.
quite, and it's almost there. And in later versions, because you specifically picked one,
I did.
and because of the gameplay, you can cheese it so easily. I'm going to go with nostalgic. I do think the game is pretty good, but it's also one of those that gets, just like Final Fight, will get a little old pretty fast. But it's actually not as quick as, say, like Final Fight to get the beat 'em up fatigue. So
I'm not saying I disagree with you, because I actually do agree with a lot of your nitpicks, quote unquote. But
it's
I
a
don't
good
know.
game. So they are kind
You're
of
just
nitpicks.
disappointed in it.
Because it's funny
Yeah,
you
I'm
say
just
that because of
disappointed,
like
yeah.
the aspect of the magic and the being able to like the whole like jumping on the ride. I think I was like, oh, that seems interesting for as old as that game is. And then when we watched the Golden Axe 3 footage, I was like, that one actually looks a little more fun. So that's why I specifically
It
asked, like,
evolved.
we're not doing all of Golden Axe, right? Make it easy and pick one, because like I didn't hear the music from 3 and the sound effects from 3, so I don't know if it is better. But since we're doing just one, I was like, it had some aspects that seemed interesting, but yeah, I'd have to play it on mute, sadly.
Yeah. Then there's actually this arcade version. Don't pay attention to the sound on that. This is an arcade one of a later version of Revenge of Death Adder, and it has just crazy art
Riding
and
scorpions.
yeah, like you can do all kinds of stuff.
Four
It's four
players?
player. Yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty nuts. But we're not scoring based on this one, but I really like this
That's
one.
pretty
I thought
crazy,
I thought
actually.
this was
Yeah.
fun.
Well, okay, let's
Andy.
go with Andy. Yeah.
I'm very on the fence with this. First of all, the Commodore 64 one is just depressing. It is so depressing to
Garbage.
look at it. And to just
I
think
feel
of
sad
the-
for your childhood when I look
Yeah.
at it.
Oh, but of everyone's childhood. 'cause
Look
I
at almost
played-
any Commodore 64 game though, and you'll probably.
Yeah,
There's some Commodore 64 games that are great, but that one was a little rough.
that was rough. Because I was tainted by looking at the arcade version first, and then I saw the Commodore version, and I was just like, this is so sad. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool because of the writing mechanic is really what sells me on it. I've seen a very small amount of the game, but she was able to actually throw her sword
Well, that was part
procure
3
another
though.
one.
Could she do it in all of them?
Yeah, I think
So that was
did
part
it.
3 that we were watching her throw it.
I
Oh,
don't
really?
think
She
she could
can't.
throw
Not
it
in the
in
first
one.
one, no.
Oh,
yeah.
So yep,
You could jump on one of those dragons and shoot like a flame.
Yeah.
There's one
across
that
the
shoots a
screen.
flame ball.
That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's riding that little dragon shooting flame, and then the
And you
big
can
dragon
swing
head
the
came in.
tail.
That was part 1.
Yeah.
Well, let's just stop him where he is so that he
Yeah.
doesn't switch over to the nostalgia
Yeah,
side.
it's
I just
too
want
late.
one person on
No,
my
no,
side.
no, let him finish.
I'm
You're
almost
still on the cool
there. I'm
side now
so
that you know that was
close.
not part of it.
It's 50-50, but for the year,
I mean, your
I
vote
think
doesn't
it's-
matter. It's already got 2
I know.
nostalgia, so it's going to be
for the
rated
year.
nostalgia.
I
but
think it's pretty cool for the year.
What does that mean, though? No, it's got to be. Does it hold
no,
up
if it
today?
came out today,
Is
would it
it-
still be cool?
Is it still cool?
But for obviously, if that game came out today, it wouldn't come out that way, right? Like,
Well, the
there's
graphics might be slightly
it's
improved.
also-
You're
but
trying to say this isn't cool?
Oh God!
Come on.
It's a victim of its time, maybe. But yeah, if it came out now, no, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't be.
because I mean, like some of the other stuff.
I would
we've
want a lot more things in it. If it came
talked
out
about, like
right
even
now.
if the Road Rash came out today exactly as it is,
Which, yeah.
maybe the graphics
Yeah.
slightly improved, I'd still
But
play
it's,
that.
yeah,
so.
I think it nailed the core experience in Road Rash and in Turtles in Time also was like just so good. And so seeing that and then looking at this, I'd be like, meh, yeah, the 60-40 nostalgia.
So I guess
Does that mean you're flipping to
all
nostalgia?
three,
Yeah.
all three are nostalgia.
Yeah.
They convinced me
nostalgia.
in the middle. I was gonna
Yeah.
say it's cool, and then I was like, yeah.
You're like, oh, the thing I liked that was cool is not part of that game? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so
All right,
one
well,
more left then.
That leaves
Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time.
I mean, the Ninja Turtles are just cool in and as itself, in my opinion, because I love the story of that and from the comics and the cartoon and the movies, everything. Not all games are always created the same, and I think from at least my childhood, all the games that I remember from Ninja Turtles, this is the first one that was actually good and insanely playable. And as I already said, this weekend I'm going to go buy it so I have it on my current system. So absolutely cool. Feel free to.
All right. So I'm gonna. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I just assume Mike's gonna be like, "You said mine's bad, yours is bad."
I
Being
want to
vindictive.
so bad. I want to so bad.
It's not
but I
about
can't.
vengeance, man.
I can't. I mean, this game is awesome. This was the epitome of classic beat 'em up. Like you couldn't get any better until Michael's game.
Oh, he left the dinosaurs. Now he's going to the pirate
Well, thank
ship.
you for shilling for me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
good, man.
I mean, there's so much love that you could tell went into the art, went into the animation. The gameplay is so smooth. It's so well done. It's so action packed too. Like you look at a lot of these other.
Messed up right there.
He stepped on that.
Yeah, he stepped on a board and
Damn.
smashed his face.
That's one of those cheap things I was talking about,
Yeah.
though. Like that is absolutely cheap, but you can kind of see it in
a
some of
cheap
these. Some
hit.
of these,
Yeah.
yeah.
You look at a lot of these other ones that we've looked at, and it's just like there's not a whole lot going on at any one given time. And in this one, it almost looks like pure chaos.
Yeah.
And whenever you figure it out and you can get past all these enemies, you feel like you really accomplished something. And it's just so fun. So
Yeah, and they come in swinging versus just sitting on a bench waiting for you to punch them.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I could go on about the praises about this game, but I'm going to just stop and say it's cool.
I agree 100%. Because I'm not even paying much attention to
Yeah.
Not even listening to what you said, just watching the game.
There was a box with fireworks on it, and I was like, is that flaming arrow going to set it off? When is it going to blow up? Like, on the screen at a time, there are like 3 different varieties of enemies. There's a ranged guy, there's a sword guy, and then there's like a tank guy with a helmet on it, and now guys with guns
rockets.
showed up with rocket launchers. So it is utter chaos, and it looks amazing. There's so much variety in the moves. I am so surprised that there was so much variety in the moves there. Even the enemy, if you saw that guy, he did a melee attack and swung his gun when he got too close to him.
Yeah.
I thought that's so much detail. Like it's really, really well made. Oh, so you hit it once and it has a
Yep.
ticker bomb.
It has
Okay,
yep.
nice.
You got guys with Little spiked frisbees.
Oh, they're off the screen throwing at it. So I am so captivated by just looking at the gameplay.
In other words,
I
this
love
weekend
it.
you need to go buy it too.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to get this. Actually, I'm probably trying to emulate it play it on my iPad in the bed or something.
Completely legally.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the
course.
hot foot. I forgot about that. Did you see that?
Yeah, the whole
He just stepped on fire and we're like,
He's like,
bouncing
my
around
foot. He
holding
goes,
his
my foot, my foot.
All right.
But like I've also played like other Turtles games that came out like 15 years ago, and you could play all 4 Turtles, and like the whole my foot made me think of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very repetitive with the moves, and Michelangelo kept doing this thing where you jump up, swing his nunchucks, and he's like helicopter down, kicking his feet, and he's like going eat feet, eat feet, eat feet.
So the
And
whole
it got
game is just
so
eat feet.
annoying.
Yep. Yeah, and that's actually like, and as somebody who made a beat 'em up, one of the biggest things is to try to keep annoying stuff from like that happen. Not sure if I was very successful with it, but I tried. But anyway, for Turtles in Time, this is absolutely cool. They nailed everything with this. Every aspect that you could ever want in this, like in a beat 'em up, they've got. It's got character. It's got enemies that do different things. They have the Foot Clan, which is the most generic enemy type of all time, and they have tons of different foot types with the different abilities. And you know just by looking at them, okay, what they can do, and it doesn't feel generic. And they keep throwing different varieties of enemies at you. And the boss fights are actually unique boss fights. Another staple of the genre that I absolutely dislike is they mostly have boss fights where they just call in other enemies that you've been fighting. You've beat them 100 times already in the level. I hate that. This game doesn't do that. This game has variety in the moves. Each turtle has their own individual special moves and a couple moves that they can do. The one downside is like they only have that one different move that's different. Otherwise, they kind of play the same, other than they have a little distance difference, which makes Donatello like the best character in this game.
Oh, I mean, he is the best character.
It's Michelangelo,
Just
clearly.
overall.
No,
No.
Michelangelo.
Donatello!
Donnie
No,
was always
no,
my favorite.
no. But anyway, before we get into a turtle fight here, in the Super Nintendo version, I mentioned earlier the final fight. Like, you know, I got it. I was kind of disappointed. I got tired of it pretty quickly. I own this game. I beat it all the time. I would go through and just play it because it was so good. They made it better than the original arcade version. Clearly, the graphics aren't as good as the arcade because it can't be as fluid because it's a small Super Nintendo cartridge version arcade. But they added so much to it. It was just kind of the perfect game, like the perfect beat 'em up. And yeah, this is absolutely
I love the foot riding in on a horse.
yeah, like just stuff like that. That's absolutely like I wish I actually had the budget and time to have been able to do way more of like stuff like this in our game, because it takes so much time to be able to do all of that. And this is just this is the gold standard. So definitely cool.
Part 2.
What's that?
You'll do it in part 2.
In
Do it in
part
part-
2,
yeah.
Vengeance Hunters 2.
Vengeance Hunters 2. Now
Coming
with,
2027.
now with more budget.
And more vengeance.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
what
A double dose
what was
of
the
vengeance.
Spaceballs sequel supposed to be called?
The Search for
The
More
Search
Money?
for More Money.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's Vengeance Hunters 2. The Search for More Money.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is Turtles in Time is absolutely amazing. Great game all around. They nailed it. It's still fun today.
All right. You want to close this out?
I guess. Yeah, I guess thank you everybody for I guess watching, attending,
Or listening?
viewing, listening to the podcast. Everybody, our host Turtle says thank you for showing up and being a part of the community. I guess what's your spiel with the follow us on?
Well, even before that,
we're
I
on.
want to say I hope everyone had a great time remembering these games.
Oh
because they're
yeah.
so
Okay,
classic.
all right. Yeah, I'm terrible.
Right.
At
We're
this,
going to
so
finish out these intros at some
Go
point.
play them.
We're
Intros
figuring
and
it out.
outros.
Go
We're
play
still
them.
new at it.
Go play these games.
Yeah,
Go play Vengeance Hunters.
Yeah, go play Vengeance Hunters. Go play, and yeah, all these games are actually still worth playing, even though we have nitpicked. You said the right word. We're more nitpicking. These are all classics. These are all great. They're great for a reason. They all introduce concepts that are still like to this day, like things that are used and are fun. So everything from like the 3 beat 'em ups that we talked about to Andy's Road Rash. Absolutely, all of them are amazing games. So even if we voted nostalgic, that doesn't mean they're bad.
But I mean, in the end, like, you need to let us know. I mean, what do you think on all of these? Do you agree nostalgia, you think they're cool, but also like just when it comes to vintage arcade games in general, what are some of the ones that you love that, you know, if you leave comments on, we can discuss and give our thoughts on those too.
Doesn't even have to be the beat 'em up genre.
Yeah. We were only 75% beat 'em up genre today, and the one other game I referenced was X-Men, which is the same thing,
Yep.
but with superpowers. So feel free to reference other games that aren't like that.
But yeah, I mean, please like, subscribe, comment, engage with us. We want to build a community, and we also want to know if what we're doing is what we should be doing. So
I mean, if
please
there's
let us
topics
know.
that you want us to do as well, by all means,
Tell
send
us
them our
what
way.
Mike sucks at.
Yeah, yeah.
Clearly, Mike and Jeffrey are like fighting every episode.
We're on opposite
Every
ends.
time-
Go to
every
cool
time-
or just nostalgia at gmail.com and let him know that he's wrong at whatever he says.
Every time Mike has to comment on Jeffries, he's like, "All right, let's."
Yeah, he's like,
Every
all right,
time
how can I
Jeffrey-
get vengeance? How can I hunt my vengeance on
Oh, jeez.
what he said?
Wait, did somebody say vengeance? On
But
this?
absolutely. I'm going to say let's close out. Go buy Vengeance Hunters. And here's a preview of it.